share stories 1 through 15 in my 2023 December daily album. Let's get started. So I am using the Floral and Gold album that Ellie Edwards put out, the 6x8 size. For my title page, I used this honeycomb vellum and paired it with the large wreath and a story of our family with some gold sparkly letters that I had in my stash. On the back side of the vellum for story 1, I told the story of how my husband, who had been gone for several weeks for work, was able to come home on December 1st. So here he is surprising our oldest daughter. When we came in the house, he was there waiting for us, and it was just a really happy way to start off December. So on the back, I used the wreath just to pair it with the front side there, and typed out my journaling and printed it in. I cut out some of the small word phrases from the repeating 4x6 craft cards that Allie had, and you'll see those repeated on later on in my album. I created this 4x8 pocket by using one of the 6x8 pockets because I knew I wanted to use the vertical 4x6. So I simply put it in with some cardstock on the bottom and then use a zigzag stitch on my sewing machine and cut off the excess to make this pocket. On the back, I created a title and paired it with this 2x2 page of just a local parade that we went to. I used some of the embellishments from the main kit here. These are all loose, and so far they're staying in really well. I didn't adhere them into the pockets at all, and I haven't had any problem with that. On the back, I just put some embellishments here. I took off the bottom foam tab from the stars because it had 2 layers of foam on it, which just would have created a lot of bulk in the album. So I took off 1 layer, and I think it gave some dimension without being too bulky. For story 3, I paired it with an event that I went to with the girls. This is one of those like virtual background photo booths. I paired it, I made a little flip up here just with some journaling that I wanted to include using the remembering and gathering 3x4 cards there. On the back, I put in 2 4x6 photos from a work event that I was doing. I was hosting some seniors programming, so I paired it with the December Joys title from the main page, and I adhered this over the seam using foam tabs to kind of create like a seamless look between the 2 photos. And for my journaling about it, I just used the repeated phrase of finding joy and did my journaling about some things that I was finding joy in my work at the time. Story number 5, I used a large photo of myself. I was walking, we get a lot of snow here, so just took a kind of aesthetic photo. I've got my coffee and my big mittens on, and I created my own window cards. So window cards are something that Allie frequently offers in her shop, but I didn't have any, so I just created my own using an X-Acto knife and a punch here. And on the back, I paired it. This was a photo that I took on my walk of just some red berries against the snow there. The holiday cheer is from a Paisley Press mini kit that Allie offered a few years ago in her shop as well. Story number 6, I used the vellum joy paper that I had cut down to be the right size, and then this was a photo that I took. It's on our front door, and I cut it out so that it could be the O in joy, and then just put some really simple journaling on the bottom. Because I was working with the back then of the O, and it looked kind of funny, I wasn't quite sure what to do, so I paired it with a photo of my daughter that I took, and I was able to cut it into a circle. These were some pictures that I just randomly took throughout the month of her heading into school. And the story that I'm telling is she came home one day with this note in her backpack from her teacher, because I guess they recognize kids when they're doing, good works or showing kindness. So I thought that was, excuse me, something really special that I wanted to commemorate. So I had the kindness story kit from Allie Edwards. It was offered a few years ago, so that's where I got these phrase stickers and then the tab here. And I just wrote a little note to her about, it's been a really big year for her, and I'm proud of her. So put that in there. Story 8 is just about playing in the snow with my dog. you can see she's diving off the deck into the snow pile here. And to create the title, I just did repeat stamping. It says, Dora, let's go play, over and over again. And then I created this tag bundle, and I wasn't quite sure what to do because I was already using a page protector, but I wanted something with a little bit of movement, and I really liked the tag bundle, and it wouldn't have fit inside the protector. So I adhered the bottom tag onto the card, and then I just used a craft knife or an X-Acto knife and cut a tiny slit in the page protector so that I could put the twine through with the rest of the little embellishment bundle. So I love how that turned out. Story 9 is about some ornaments that I had made. So I printed off, I made 4 of them, and printed those off in the 3x4 size, put them in, and then the vellum goes over top with my journaling. And this was actually from a vellum tag that Ali had because I liked the grid on the bottom. And then I can still use the top of the tag for something later on. It was like a tall 4x8 tag, so I just cut that. Story 10 is a really simple story about a cross-stitching project that I did during the season, and I used the Around the Tree Happy as Can Be card. My journaling talks about this is where you can usually find me in front of the Christmas tree. You can see I got my fuzzy socks on, just working on a craft project. Story 11 is a large photo that I took of our wrapping paper for the year, and I cut out the flag pennants here. It was a 10x8 piece of paper that Ali had in the main kit. So I cut the pennants out and then ran it through my sewing machine here and added my journaling on with a star. The Say Yes to Colorful Festive Fun. Colorful Festive Fun is kind of a phrase that Ali used in her album a lot, and I really loved it paired with the wrapping paper because traditionally I always pick out like really boring wrapping paper because I feel like I need to pick the really nice aesthetic paper that kind of matches. And this year I just said, you know, I want to pick something fun. I want to do, you know, something that's going to bring me joy when I look at it. So rather than just like red and gold or whatever, pick something that I knew my kids would love and that just really made me smile. Story 12 is kind of on the same color theme. This December colors, this was offered as a file in the 2023 December daily prep day that Ali had. So I printed it out, or sorry, I cut it out on my Cricut in the white cardstock, and then I embellished it with this embroidery floss just in different colors. And I used the same blue over here to kind of tie it in. On the back of it, I printed a second copy, sorry, cut a second copy, and then used gold embossing powder so that you wouldn't see the floss. And how I made this is, I wasn't sure how to attach it in my album, so I kind of sandwiched a transparency in between the two pieces of cardstock, and then I actually like kind of laminated it, I guess you could say, with packing tape. And you can't even tell, and it worked really well, so now it's like sturdy in my album. Paired it with a photo that I took of just the way the light was coming in through the window was creating this rainbow effect on the wall, and I just thought it was so neat. So I like grabbed my camera, took a picture of it, and I just thought it worked out really, really well with this theme. To go along with that, I had just snapped some photos of different colorful things in our house. This is, you know, some artwork from my kids, our mittens and hats by the entryway, our ornaments, advent calendar, just little bits around home. Because again, I never quite know what to do on the back of the 2x2 pockets because I feel like I have a story, but then I don't always have photos to go with the 2x2 for a following story. So just kind of ended up creating this embellishment page to match story 13. So I just cut up the gold and cream tree paper, and then these phrase stickers I adhered actually onto the page protector so they're not inside, so there's a little bit of dimension here. So for story 13, it was about my husband. He traveled with the girls to go see some family, and I went and saw Santa while they were gone. So I I used the photo as the inside of one of the larger wreaths, and then on the back, this chipboard circle was from the main kit a few years ago, so I wanted to hide the seam of the photo on the back. So I printed journaling and then used this to hide that seam there, and I just talked about their trip. And then, you know, here's the kids and their cousins on this really pretty wreath vellum. And then I adhered a pom-pom trim that I got a few years ago just from Home Sense. So it's a little bit bulky, but it's thin enough that I'm okay using it in the album. On the other side, because I'm using vellum, I knew I wanted to have something that was the exact same size so that you wouldn't see any weird edges. So I paired it with a photo of my husband and our youngest daughter. I just really love this photo I snapped of them on the couch, and to me it doesn't need any words. I was happy just adding, you know, the embellishments and my numbers. Story 15, I always try and include one of our holiday recipes in our album. So this year I decided to include our nuts and bolts recipe that we use by I always include who I got the recipe from as well, because I think that's really fun. So one of my former bosses shared this recipe with me, and now we make it every year. So I ran the 4x6 card through my printer so that I could get the writing on here rather than my handwriting. And that was my first time trying it on one of the designed cards. So I'm really happy with how that turned out. I had to play around with it a few times and print a couple samples to get it the right size and everything, but this is something that I'm for sure gonna do again. And I paired it again with one of the dimensional stars, and I took the foam off again, off the gold ones on the bottom, and then I adhered my number on top. So that is a look at story 15, and I will be back soon with stories 16 through 25 of our album. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks.